In this tutorial, we'll learn how to utilize the stock management feature. This allows you as the administrator to define how many of a product or a selection of products that a customer or a selection of customers can purchase. In addition, we have the ability to automatically reset these limits on a monthly or annual basis. This functionality operates in a very similar way to access permissions. For additional context on these features, search for access permissions content within the Infigo Academy. So to start off this process, we're going to navigate to set up access permissions. The control of stock management can be found in the same area as the general access permissions configuration options. We're going to start off by clicking on Scopes. As with access permissions, we are required to configure scopes for our eventual stock management rules. Scopes define a customer or a range of customers that will be affected by this rule. So we'll just set one of these up really quickly. I'm going to go to Add New Scope over on the right-hand side. And then we're going to define the customers that are included within our scope. In our example, we'll stick to selecting a single customer. However, a scope can include definitions by other means, such as by departments, customer role, or shipping country. Next, we're going to click on Targets. As with access permissions, we are required to configure targets for our eventual stock management rules. Targets define a product or a range of products that will be affected by this rule. So once again, we're going to go to Add New Target. And then we're going to select the type of target. So in our example, we'll stick to selecting a single product. However, a target can include definitions by other means, such as category or product group. With a scope and a target defined, we're going to go across to stock management. So this area allows us to define our stock management rules. So note that although the functionality is very similar to that of access permissions, they are independent. Access permissions do not have to be activated for stock management to function. We'll start off in the Settings tab. This gives us access to a load of stock management general options. This includes an overriding on-off switch for the functionality, so that's the is enabled, a debug mode, the ability to display usage information for the period, so that will be monthly or annually, which is defined in our rule, which we'll get to in a moment. And finally, the ability to display availability of the product in different forms. And this is things such as just showing a simple in stock or out of stock message, or you can have the remaining stock based on defined limits. Click on the Rules tab to actually start defining our rules. Go to Add New Record, and then we need to select the relevant scope and targets that we want to utilize for this rule. So I'll choose the two I've just created. Moving along a bit further, we can define a limit. So this is the quantity of the product you wish your customer to be able to order. So I'm just going to go with 5, for example. And then next, along from there, we can define how often this limit resets. So you have the option of never, monthly, or yearly. And then if applicable, you'll get access to a reset date, which allows you to specify the date in which that limit resets. Once you're finished, click Insert. And then Save at the top of the screen. Now, before you can utilize these changes on the front end of the storefront, you will need to wait for the background update tasks to be run. And this shouldn't take more than a minute or so. So what I've done here is I've launched the product to see our updated stock limits and display options. An order has already been placed utilizing this information. So what we can see is I placed an order for 3 of this particular product. We can see that I've got ordered this month 3, and then availability, so my remaining limit of 2. If we go back into the back end of our storefront and go to our stock management rules, you'll also see that that order that has been placed has been associated with that stock management rule. So you can keep an interactive track on the orders that have been placed using each of those rules.